Given the data that's been coming in as of late, it's really interesting to see how the Treasure Valley real estate markets are doing, especially when it comes to the median home sold price. This last month's data showed increases in the existing home price, but decreases in new construction. Really? But given really these one-offs, is this really going to be the way that it is according to the data, and what can we expect to happen in upcoming months? Well, if you're thinking about making a move right here to the greater Boise, Idaho area, better known as the Treasure Valley, or you're even thinking about selling and relocating elsewhere, then this is information you are definitely not going to want to miss. Welcome to another episode of Mikey's Monthly Market Updates for June of 2024. I look forward to being your guide. Well, welcome back after that quick break there, everybody. Of course, my name is Mike Petras with MPRE Residential, powered by Next Home Treasure Valley, and welcome to another episode of Mikey's Monthly Market Updates for June of 2024. Now, if you are new to this channel, this is going to go ahead and break down what is happening in real estate right here in the greater Boise, Idaho area, better known as the Treasure Valley. But also, since we are still one of the major areas that people do want to move to around the United States, this can also apply to your area. So please go ahead and watch this video, and if you have to, reach out to your local real estate agent to know about what is happening in your markets. But either way, let's go ahead, let's dive into the data, let's see what happened in June of 2024, and let's see what we can expect in the months upcoming. Before we dive into Ada County's data, I just want to wish you all and say happy 4th of July. Hope you all had yourselves a wonderful holiday, a safe one, and God bless America. But let's go ahead, let's dive into this information. And as we can see by Ada County, the median home sold price jumped. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you've noticed that a couple of weeks back, I went ahead and came up with a video talking about how existing home inventory was absolutely skyrocketing and how we can expect median home sold price to start on the way down here in our area. Well, according to this graph, it's not looking that way. Well, we're hitting at $569,990 for the month of June 2024 in the overall median home sold price. So if we're actually taking a look at some comparables to see where we're kind of at, we can see that we've been on the rise, especially since we hit the low point back really in the beginning of 2023, when the market correction really kind of stopped itself. We're sitting at 487, 495 up to where we are today. We are actually sitting up 14.47% since then. Wow, that's an amazing gain, right, Mike? Well, it is. But let's take a look. We've been chipping away at that market correction when we hit the peak of 602,250, now sitting at the 569,990. We are only down 5.35% since then, and then hit all the way down to 487, 495. We have just been chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. In January of 2022, when we were sitting at the 540,000, when we started really that increase up to the peak to where we're at today, we're actually up 5.26% since then. But the question is this going to last? Before we get there, though, and answer that question, let's go ahead and take a look at the 6-month breakdown. And as we can see, we've been on nothing but the rise here in Ada County, from 514,975 at the beginning of the year to 520,500, 556, down 555, 552, and then boom, all the way up to 569,990. Crazy. Again, up 9.65% since the beginning of this year alone. But again, is this going to last? Well, the only way we can answer that question is by taking a look at inventory. And what is the inventory showing us? Boom, it's on the way up. And it's even been rising at a pitch that is harder than what we saw in 2023. Is it as hard as what we saw in 2022, when we knew the market correction started in late May, early June? You can see that absolute rise in the inventory. No, it's not quite there yet. But what is kind of keeping that down? Is it existing homes or new construction? Well, again, if you saw my video that I came out with a couple of weeks ago talking about existing homes, we know that the inventory has been rising in the existing homes. So it's the new construction that's really been keeping it at bay. But the key here to look at is the pending line, the orange line. We can see that that went down and is actually kind of flatlined more or less itself, and the sales have followed suit. So what's that telling us? That's telling us that the buyer's demand out for our area has really leveled off and is not as strong as we've seen. But if we take a look at those patterns back, especially in 2022, we know why, because mortgage interest rates went through the roof, buyers jumped out, a lot of inventory was out there because Sellers were trying to sell and they kind of held on a little bit too long and the buyers went, whoop, gone. And we had that gap create. Well, we also saw that gap back in 2023 during the hot season. We saw to where the inventory was kind of outshooting the buyer's demand, which was ticking down. Now we're seeing that flat line, but we are seeing the inventory again spiking up to a degree that's not quite at the 2022 level as a whole, but it's still rising and we're still seeing the buyer's demand fall. Well, if housing is valued on supply and demand, we can see that there's more supply outpacing the demand, and it means more competition for sellers out there with their neighbors trying to sell. That can mean things like price reductions. And of course, as we know around the Treasure Valley, price reductions have been on the rise. So where should we expect to see a majority of our price declines? Is it going to be in existing homes or is it going to be in new construction? Well, again, if I refer back to the video that I had a couple of weeks ago, we know that it's going to be coming from existing homes. Let's just go ahead and let's take a look at this graph right here. Boom! You can see the inventory just skyrocketing in existing homes. Right now with 1,045 homes actively available for sale in Ada County, and only 477 of them actually sold in the month of June. You can actually see those lines, and if we're looking at the pending line too, tick down, now it's kind of ticking back up, but we can see that the buyers have lost their steam. And why did they lose their steam? Well, we'll go ahead and we'll cover that when we get to the best buyer strategies at the end of this video, so please stick around. We'll go ahead and discuss that. But either way, we're seeing that inventory surpass the buyer's demand right now. And in fact, the months of inventory in existing homes right now is sitting at 2.19%, which was up greatly from the month before, which was just sitting at 1.64%. That is a huge jump in inventory. How about new construction? Well, we know that the builders can control their own inventory. And what have they been doing over the years? They've been retreating back to pre-solds. And what a pre-sold basically is you're going to go out there, you're going to pick your lot, and they're going to build the house for you. So they're saying, come on in here first, and then we'll go ahead and build your house. So again, now you kind of get the gist of how they can control their inventory. But that is not all builders out here in the Treasure Valley. We do have what's known as spec builders. And those spec builders will go ahead and start building something. And then when it's about a drywall, they'll go ahead and they'll put it on the market for sale. But a lot of the spec builders around the Treasure Valley have really kind of kept it to a sort of minimum. And as we can see by this graph, we've got 681 homes available with only 248 them actually selling, which puts our month of inventory at 2.74 for the month of June of 2024 in new construction. But look at the intermingling here. This is what I want to go ahead and point out. When we see this intermingling pattern like we saw all the way back in 2019, what are we seeing? We're seeing a sense of stability. And as we saw during the pandemic, when things got shut down and then a lot of people wanted to move here and our days of inventory got down to 6 days worth of inventory, you see that inventory line went way down, the pending shot way up, and just skyrocketed prices out here. In fact, over the last couple of years, during that time, or during the COVID, over those 2 years, from about 2020 to 2022, we were the fastest growing market in all of the United States, sitting at 53.7% gains in equity. Huge. But we also know that we went through the market correction, and the market correction came in late May, early June, and we can see that the inventory absolutely skyrocketed. Buyers' demand fell off because mortgage interest rates got out of control. Builders kind of got stuck holding some of their inventory, but the builders got wise. They controlled themselves. They were able to go ahead and kind of correct the issue themselves. And now we're seeing that intermingling. We are seeing the penny line kind of tick down, but as we can see, it was kind of jigsawing itself more or less. And I can anticipate that we'll continue to see that intermingling. So I would anticipate the builders to really flex on their home values, which they don't like to do anyway. But if they're going to give you any incentives, they're going to give it in the form of concessions. And if you've watched the video that I came out with 2 weeks ago, we know that the builders are really doing that. Hence is what is putting the pressure on the existing home inventory. So if you want to know more about that, click on this tab in the upper right-hand corner. It'll take you to that video. And then you can go ahead and figure out why there's so much pressure being placed right now on existing homes and why the inventory is out of control. But here's the shocker, everybody. Absolute shocker. The existing home median home sold price. Wait a minute, Mike. I thought you just told me that the inventory was completely spiking out of control and the buyer's demand was going this way. Well, not everything happens immediately. And as we can see here by this graph, the median home sold price took a huge jump, sitting at $599,990 for the month of June. Crazy increase from the $540,000 we just had the month before. That's actually a 10% gain. But Mike, why did that happen? Well, we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, let's recap some of the other stats. Like if we go all the way back to January of 2023, when the market correction really stopped itself and we saw median home sold prices begin on the rise. We're sitting at 475,000 to what we got today. Since then, up 20.83%. And actually, if we look all the way back to the 586, 750 that we had at the peak before the market correction began, we can see that we now superseded that by 2.2%. Crazy. And of course, looking back at the 515, 100 that we had in January of 2022 to the 599, 990, say that 10 times fast, to what we got today, we're up 14.14% since then. Just absolutely crazy gains. But is this something that we can expect to continue to happen? Well, no, because I went ahead and I took a look at some of the data breaking down to why the median home sold price was this particular direction. Got to remember what median home sold price is: the lowest home sold, the highest home sold out of all the range, and they picked the one that's right in the middle. But in this case, where we are sitting at that number, it was just because more higher value homes actually sold than the lower value homes did this month around. And with the inventory where it is as to where the buyer's demand is, can I anticipate the price is actually going to be on the way down? Yes, I can. And remember too, if you go back to the video I came out with a couple of weeks ago, we were able to tell that the median home sold price declines after the inventory started spiking compared to where the buyer's demand was cooling. It always took a couple of months for it to head the other direction. So either way, in existing homes, I kind of take this a little bit as a one-off fluke, just for the month. But at the same time, I anticipate these numbers to come on the way down. So buyers, take a deep breath when it comes to that. Now, how about new construction? Well, we can see in new construction, we had the opposite. It went down. It actually went down to 525, 557, which is significantly down from the 583, 995 that we had the month before. We shot down 10%. This is really interesting. We got stability in one category, and then we have inventory going out of control in the other with existing homes, but yet new construction takes the biggest shot. Well, again, piggybacks off of what is going on. Is the bottom number, top number, and then they go ahead and take what's right in the middle. So there's probably more lower end homes sold in new construction than the higher ends, hence why this dipped down. And again, do I expect the median home sold price in new construction to continue to dip down considering where their inventory is at? No, I don't. So again, I kind of figure that this might be a one-time fluke, and we'll just go ahead and have to continue to pay attention to the numbers as they pop up. But overall in Ada County, still, it is on the way up since the end of the market correction, which is really of January 2023, when it's sitting at 494, 900, to where we are today, sitting in the 525, 557. That actually puts us up 5.83% since then. But because of this dip since the 690, when it was at the peak of the market, just before the market correction, late May, early June of 2022, we could see that it's all the way down, and it actually rebounded all the way back to 23.83% down since then. And lastly, if we're comparing it to the 588, 945 that we had back in 2022, it's down 10.76% since then. So overall, very, very interesting things happening in the Treasure Valley when it comes to the median home sold price for June of 2024. But again, because of where the inventory is at, I'd expect new construction not to be so much in trouble as compared to existing homes. So please keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the health of the market. Let's see where the buyers are at. And as we can see in Ada County, boom, the days on market shot down to 32 days on market. So it has been declining as we are getting into the hot season. And as we can see, really kind of when that starts is Q2. And that was sitting at about 48 days on market, and we can see that we're down to 32. So we do still have buyers activity here. It's still kind of healthy. Transactions are moving along. And it tells us because of where it's at, the price decreases, they are happening, but really not kind of at a super severe level. Because we can see that buyers are still out there and transactions are happening, and they're happening in a decent amount of time, more on pace with what was happening in 2019. If the days on market were to be going up, we know that a lot of homes are actually sitting. They'd be sitting on the market. The market correction, where we got all the way up to 74 days, really, January 2023, we see that huge spike in the days on market. And we knew that home prices came boom, tumbling right down. So according to the days on market, our markets are still looking relatively healthy, but we do know that the buyer's demand is starting to taper, and we do know that inventory is going up. So what could I anticipate with the days on market? Maybe to stay around where we're at for now. We'll just have to continue to monitor the data. Well, how about the cancels and expireds? Another thing that can generally happen is that the cancels will start to rise. And why will the cancels start to rise? Is because sellers get frustrated. They're like, wait a minute, I've got all this competition out there and I'm sitting on this rockin' mortgage right now. Why would I possibly give that up to make a lateral move? Well, that is a great question. So out of those making lifestyle moves or just for any reason, we can still see that the cancels are still on a low aspect. They're not really shooting out of control yet. So the seller's frustration just really kind of hasn't set in yet. But we are seeing that inventory again on the rise, and that is something we'll have to continue to monitor. And we could potentially anticipate that this number will rise. All right, how about Canyon County? Let's go ahead and let's take a look at your stats and see what happened. Well, for this month, we noticed that the median home sold price has been on the way down. In fact, for the last couple of months, it's been on the way down, which is still up from the $395, $445 that we had back in January of 2023 when the market correction really kind of stopped. That actually puts us up since then at 4.48%. But of course, we're still way down from the 476, 500 that we had when the market correction at the peak before the market correction started all the way down. We're still down 13.11% since then. And if we're looking all the way back to 2022, when it's sitting at the 424,900 to what we got today, we're down 2.56% since then. And as we can see by the 6-month breakdown, well, Canyon County really has kind of stayed relatively put. It has its wave there right in the middle when we went from 399,990 back in January of 2024, then up to 409 to 413 to 429, then now back down to 419 and 413. So is existing homes in the inventory, which we know is on the rise, creating a downplay in the median home sold price here in Canyon County. Well, we'll get to those numbers here in a minute. But if we're taking a look at where we went down from the 419,990 that we had last month, the $6,000 dip since the last month, we know that we're down 1.42% since then. But overall, unlike Ada County, we're not really moving and shaking. We're not really moving on our way up on a county level. But just like 2022 and 2023, can we expect the prices to come down here in Canyon County? Well, of course, again, that takes the inventory to take a look at because we know that home values are based on what? Supply and demand. So if we're taking a look at this, we're sitting at 1,118 homes for active sale, only 399 sold the previous month, which puts us overall 2.8 months worth of inventory in Canyon County. But again, let's take a look at the buyer's demand, which is the pending line. We've seen the pending line was on the way up, and now we're seeing it kind of curve the other direction. We'll have to continue to pay attention to that. Will it kind of sawtooth itself all the way down, or can we expect the gap to grow? Well, let's go ahead and let's break it down by category, and let's see which one's really going to kind of take the hit in terms of the median home sold price. And if you watched my video a couple of weeks ago, if you didn't, click in the upper right. I'll go ahead and place it right back there so you can go ahead and get an idea of what's going on. But if we take a look at what is going on with existing home inventory in Canyon County, boom, way on the way up. Not quite at the increase, at the ratio increase from available homes to actual sold homes that we saw back in 2022. But look at that. It just absolutely accelerated and skyrocketed. We are at 604 active homes for sale in Canyon County with only 222 of them selling. Saw that the solds are on the way down, which puts us at 2.72 months worth of inventory, which was a huge jump from the 2.09 that we had the previous month. Crazy. But if we kind of take a look at the inventory here, right at the top, we can see from the last month, it kind of made a little bit of an edge to the right or to the downward aspect. So can we expect maybe inventory to start working its way down in Canyon County? Well, when we get to cancel and expires, we'll go ahead and we'll cover that. But either way, we're seeing right there that the gap between inventory and buyer's demand is most definitely there. And if we're looking at the buyers via the pending line, we can see the pending line is basically flatlined itself. Now, it kind of looks like it's ticking up a little bit there, and actually via the numbers it was, but where are we going to be as we progress down in 2024? That is a question. But either way, right now, we can see that there's a significant gap going on between inventory and buyer's demand, And what can we expect from that? You guessed it, price declines, which have been happening. How about new construction? Well, much like Ada County, again, they can control their inventory. Go ahead and rewind back to Ada County so you can get an idea of the pre-solds and spec homes and stuff like that, so that you know what's going on. But we can see there that there's 514 active homes for sale out in Canyon County right now, which has been on the way up. Okay, but again, builders can control their inventory, so we'll see how this one shakes out. But again, the pending line has been on the way down, but it's basically been a flat line. So it is intermingling itself, and it's looking a lot like what was happening in 2019 when we had stable markets. So do I anticipate really prices to come down in the median home sold price for new construction, even in Canyon County? No, I do not. So again, existing homes, yes. New construction, not so much. But for new construction, we're sitting at 2.9 months worth of inventory in Canyon County. And as a spot on to Ada County, again, given the level of inventory compared to the buyer's demand in existing homes, what happened? The median home sold price took off in Canyon County. In fact, actually, it's up $19,000 from the month before, sitting at $420,000. That puts us up 4.52% since just last month. That's crazy if you kind of think about it. Now, of course, it's not the jump that we saw in Ada County. It's still an interesting jump considering inventory in existing homes compared to the buyer's demand. So can we expect this number to come down? I most certainly do expect it. And again, remember, usually takes a few months for the median home sold price to reflect what is going on with inventory. We will see price decreases happening, almost guaranteed. And as we can see by just a few of these from Altos Research, they have. But either way, in existing homes, since the market correction really kind of ended in January of 2023, when it's sitting at 339 up to the 420 that we got today, we are actually up 19.28% overall since then. That's a crazy jump. But we are still down $5,000 from the market correction, but again, still down 1.18% since then, but chipped away at the market correction, absolutely chipped away at it. We have just been steadily going up since the market correction ended. But either way, if we're taking a look back all the way to 2022, we're up 7.14% since then. So in existing homes, the median home sold price is looking good. But one point I did want to make too, just like Ada County, what really kind of led to this, and what do I kind of figure it might be a one-off fluke more or less, and we can start seeing this price head the other direction, is because there was more higher homes that sold in value than there was lower homes that sold. And again, the median is from the low to the high, and it's a number right in the middle. But if we're looking at the average, we're seeing that on the way up too, which sometimes the average will come down if the median is playing a different role. But in this aspect, we did have more higher homes sell than we did lower home values. So hence why I'm guessing that the median home sold price got to where it's at in existing homes. And how about new construction? Well, taking a look at those numbers, again, really weird. Boom, other direction. Crazy that it's down to 428, 467, which is down from the 434, 990 that we had in the month before. But over the last couple of months, we've been seeing the median home sold price in new construction in Canyon County on the way down. If we're looking at from last month, we're down 1.49% since then. But again, still up from when the market correction really ended in January of 2023. Well, actually, the lowest point here in Canyon County was more around April of 2023 when it was at 405, 859. And since that point, we are up 5.27% since then, but still massively down from the 549 we had at the peak of the market before the correction, down 21.95% since then. And we're still hitting shy at 7.85% since the 465 we had in 2022. And again, if you go into the numbers, there was more low value homes that sold in new construction compared to the higher. So again, median home sold price, and I know I'm beating this dead horse. Down bottom price, up price, right in the middle. There we go. So can we see this fluctuate? And considering what we could see in the inventory, I don't anticipate to see median home sold prices start to dive in Canyon County, not compared to existing homes. Now, how about days on market? How's the market looking? Well, as we can see here, the days on market have actually jumped up. We're at 45 compared to the 40 on average days on market to sell a home in Canyon County. And what's that telling me, especially right here in the middle of hot season for real estate? It's telling me that it could be more difficult for sellers to actually sell their homes. Again, too much inventory out there, and we definitely have seen that, again, going back to existing homes. And because of what the data is showing us, what can I expect here, especially in existing homes to pop up here, probably sooner than later, is going to be more price declines. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with these videos, because you do want to pay attention to this, especially if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest right here in Canyon County. But the question is now, are the sellers starting to get onto this? Are they starting to pick up the fact that there's more inventory out there and it's becoming harder to sell my house? Especially when if you have a rocking mortgage interest rate and you don't need to move out of necessity, why would you? Well, one of the graphs that's going to show us that is going to be cancels and expires. Have cancels been on the rise? Are there sellers out there just saying, I don't even want to be in this right now. I'll go ahead and wait for the market to get better. Well, as we could see by that, no. So the people that are actually out there, they are selling their homes. They are doing what they need to do. They're not really kind of being hit yet by the severe competition or have to put up with severe price declines like say that we saw back during the market correction. But if this number were to increase, I can almost guarantee the sellers out there are saying, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and hold off and I'm going to wait until this filters itself out. But for now, the data and this clue in terms of the cancels isn't looking terribly bad. And of course, as we know, expires are generally those that are really holding on to their price and do not want to budge, and their contract just expires in itself. And that's it unless they want to list with someone else. So either way, between both Ada and Canyon County, definitely wacky stuff. Existing homes on the way up in the median home sold price while new construction was down. Now, I did go ahead and explain as to why, because we had a lot more higher end homes sell than lower end homes sell in existing homes in both Ada and Canyon counties. And for new construction, which shouldn't be taking median home sold prices, the opposite. So if you haven't already, again, please hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly tuned with these videos so that you're in the know before you decide to make that move right here to our area, the greater Boise, Idaho area, better known as the Treasure Valley. Well, normally during these videos, this is where I come out with the big elephant section. What are some of the things going on around the U.S. that could possibly affect real estate as a whole? Well, as we know, inventory in certain markets, and seems like a majority of the markets lately, the inventory has actually been on the rise. In some markets, it's been the opposite. It really kind of depends. So if you are watching this video and you live elsewhere beyond Idaho, then you might want to reach out to your local real estate agent to be in tune with what's happening in your market. But one of the things that I keep on hearing and keep on seeing is unemployment numbers. So that is going to be the big elephant that I'm going to go ahead and tackle in an upcoming video where we're going to discuss unemployment, where it's sitting at, and what it could possibly do to the real estate markets. So please, again, stay tuned to my channel, and I look forward to bringing that video to you next week. So as customary in all of my videos that I do come up with Mikey's monthly market updates, let's go ahead and talk about the best strategies if you're looking to buy right now, sell right now, invest, or even if you're renting. So buyers, let's start off with you. So buyers, we got some really interesting things going on right now. The inventory in existing homes is absolutely skyrocketing. New construction is offering concessions like a madman still to try and harvest from the existing home markets, which they are effectively doing. So I'm sure the real big question for you is, am I going to go after a new construction home or am I going to go after an existing home? Well, right now, builders, as I mentioned, they are offering crazy concessions. Just about every single one of them are. And what are they trying to do by offering those concessions? They are trying to get your business. They are trying to draw you away from the existing home markets. And why are they doing that? Well, really, they're doing it because there's limited buyers year over year coming into our area, right here into the Treasure Valley. So business is business. They are trying to get more than their fair market share in regards to the buyers that are out there. And by the data, they are, again, effectively doing it. So right now, you might be asking yourself, Mike, what are concessions? Well, concessions are contributions that the builder is making over to you, or that a seller is making over to you. Sorry, can't just say a builder here. A seller's making to you, that you can apply to different things like your down payment. You can apply to buying down your mortgage interest rate, which is really popular right now, or a variety of other things, all depending on what you can do with them. But either way, they are very, very attractive, and in some cases could be your only way to home ownership. And the builders know this. And the builders also know that they are offering you a brand new home, a home that nobody else has lived in. And psychologically, that always takes precedence over an existing home. Sorry, existing home sellers, but it is the truth. So really, where is your better deal right now? Well, if you're taking a look at the graphs and the median home sold price, we're seeing where the median home sold prices are sitting for new construction, and knowing that they're offering the concessions and they're giving you a brand new home, you might be more apt to move over to new construction to make your purchase. But with inventory skyrocketing the way that it is, what are we going to see? We're going to see existing home sellers that really want to sell are going to get even competitive with the home builders. Because why? They want to sell their homes. And as we can see by the data and what we can see, inventory versus the buyer's demand, and we can see the increase in the price decreases that have been happening in both counties around the Treasure Valley, existing home sellers are starting to take those price decreases, or they're starting to actually offer concessions over. There are sellers in the existing home markets that are offering concessions to entice you to come on over, but anticipate that number to rise from where it is currently at. Do I have that statistic? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I apologize. But either way, expect this to happen, especially if they have to compete against the new home builder. Where the existing home is at too also gives a realtor like me, given all this data, lots of strategies to be able to go ahead and get you the absolute best deal possible in an existing home. So there are advantages on both ends right now, but right now new construction's got a little bit more than I would say that existing homes does, but expect that definitely to catch up. So do not count out existing homes. And again, if you have a strong realtor like myself in your corner to be able to negotiate the best possible deal based upon these statistics, let's make it happen. So I look forward to hearing from you. And if you have more questions or you are looking to make that move from, say, out of state, please click in the description below. There you'll see my contact information, and you'll also see a link to my free relocation guide, so that way you're in the know before you decide to make the move. But buyers, I look forward to speaking with you. I look forward to getting you right here to the greater Boise, Idaho area. All right, sellers, it's your turn. And sellers, if you are selling an existing home, as we can see by this data, the competition is just going to be much harder. And as we can see, the inventory levels have absolutely been skyrocketing, and we can see the buyer's demand has been ticking, especially downwards in existing homes. And why is that? Because the new construction builders are putting the pressure on you. And why are they doing that? Because of concessions. They are able to get somebody to come on over. Now, can you ever compete really with the fact that they are selling a brand new home? No, that's kind of difficult to do. But with certain upgrades or certain things that you've got going on, or maybe even considering the age of your home, you can still compete against those new home builders. Even if you have a little bit more of an outdated home or a little bit older of a home, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Because again, you have to have the right strategies. And some of those strategies include giving concessions. And why would you consider giving a concession over to a possible buyer? It's because the builders are. So again, if you can help a buyer think about paying down their mortgage interest rates or paying off their closing costs or other things, then they'll be more apt to come in and feel comfortable with your home. Of course, we know price points too with existing homes. A lot of what I'm seeing is overpriced for the particular local market that they're in. So again, sellers, if you want to effectively sell your home, you have to properly, appropriately price your house in today's market. Shooting over the moon will just only reduce the amount of traffic that might be interested in your home, and you can almost expect buyers to go ahead and save your particular property. They really, really love it and wait for you to come in with that price decline. And with inventory on the rise the way that it is, you do have more competition out there. So that price decline might also be there, or at least coming. So sellers, it is critical to properly, appropriately price your house. And considering the builders are enticing them, you might also want to consider the enticement via the way of concessions. But of course, if you do have further questions about that, and you are looking for the best strategies and marketing strategies to go ahead and get your home sold in the quickest amount of time possible and the most money possible, which is really critical right now in this market, then please feel free to reach out to me. Would love to go ahead and set up that appointment with you to be able to talk for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, all depending if we go yakety, yakety, yak, yak, yak. But either way, would love to go ahead and speak with you regarding this and come on over with a CMA talking about your home value and what we can do in today's market to go ahead and get that done. So I do look forward to hearing from you. And sellers, if you're looking for my contact information, you can find it in the description below. Well, investors, it's your turn. Well, as you can see by the data, we know that existing home inventory is absolutely skyrocketing, and the buyer's demand in that aspect is tapering off. And why? Because really the builders are just kind of grabbing the available buyers here in the Treasure Valley over to their end as compared to existing homes. So I'm sure that you're taking a look at this data and you're saying, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and wait maybe a couple of months. Buyers, you should be listening to this too if you're still here at this point. Wait a couple of months and see what happens with existing homes. So that's probably where you're at, and that's probably what's going to kind of get you the best deal. But of course, if you are looking for, say, a secondary property that you wish to rent out, newer homes are also very, very attractive, and they are offering those concessions, especially if you're not paying for it all in cash, to where you can go ahead and get some of those concessions, be able to buy down your rate, which will give you an overall better capitalization rate. So there are advantages, and I'm sure that as an investor, you're saying, I'm going to go ahead and wait on the existing home side, but new construction, maybe. We'll see what's going on with that. But overall, as I mentioned by the numbers of what we got on a county level, we have had a 9.65% increase in Ada County on a county level, and we've had a 3.38% increase in Canyon County. So those are some pretty good gains considering what you could possibly get out of the stock market right now. And as we know, real estate is still a great way to hedge against inflation. Well, inflation has been on its way down, especially since the 9%, but it's still sticky. And is the Fed actually going to put us in a recession by holding the federal funds rate too long? But again, I don't have a crystal ball. But either way, the Fed has definitely got me nervous. And until they actually make their first cut, because we know that they've already delayed it twice now, and they're talking about it in September, until that actually comes, we can expect the jibber jabber to still happen in the Treasury markets, MBS markets, which is going to keep mortgage interest rates high. But of course, as we know, cash is king. If you're out here and you're investing just all in cash, that is going to be your best capitalization rate overall. And if you are still looking to come out here with a loan, keep in mind that the loan is going to cost you a little bit more in the mortgage interest rates because it is a secondary property for you. But the more you throw down, the better your capitalization rate will be overall. So if you'd like to talk about the markets, strategies with the markets a little bit more, or you're looking for somebody to go ahead and run capitalization numbers on a particular property, areas, etc., whatever you got going on, feel free to give me a call. Would love to discuss this more in detail with you on how real estate is still a great investment considering what is going on in our economy. So investors, my contact information can be located in the description below. I look forward to hearing from you. All right, and lastly, renters, again, like I say every single time, you are paying 100% interest rate. And why is because you're paying your landlord to develop their equity. And as we can see here, their equity has been on the rise. But again, as I mentioned with buyers, I can anticipate that existing homes will probably go down in the median home sold price. Wouldn't expect that too much with the builders. With the builders right now, they are still offering awesome concessions that if a mortgage interest rate is possibly keeping you on that fence, that concession will probably be the make or break for you in your deal. Because why? You can go ahead and you can pay down your mortgage interest rate. There's also other programs out there like the 2-1 buy down that you can go ahead and use. We can discuss that too if you wish, which will really probably help you out considering that all the dust will settle maybe by the time the Fed starts actually making their first cut at the federal funds rate. Don't know what I'm talking about with that? Feel free to reach out to me. Love to discuss those strategies with you and let you know what's going on in the markets. But either way, if you're out there, you've been keeping your eye on it, know that there are possibilities for you, especially if the mortgage interest rates are the killer for you being able to meet that threshold to get home ownership. Because concessions are key, especially if you're looking at new homes, and there are existing homes out there that are offering those same concessions. So we just have to go out and find them. But it is also critical to talk with an experienced loan officer. Again, that is absolutely free. They will be more than happy to discuss your financial situation with you to know if they can go ahead and get you into home ownership. But you won't know until you actually lay out that foundation. So if you are looking for great loan officers right here in the Treasure Valley, please feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to put you in touch with one so that you can start setting that foundation today to home ownership. You'll be able to see my contact information in the description below. And renters, I look forward to getting you on the path to home ownership. Well, thanks again, everybody, again for watching these usually incredibly long videos. I do apologize about that, but there's a lot of information to go ahead and throw into that. And of course, if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate right here in the Treasure Valley, please click in the description below and you will see my contact information. Look forward to speaking with you. And if you're looking to make a move from out of state right here to the Treasure Valley or greater Boise, Idaho area, please click on the link in the description, download my free relocation guide so that way you're in the know. Well, if you really did enjoy this information too, and you want to stay in tune with what is happening in our real estate markets, please click on the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with the videos that I do come out with. And of course, if you found this information useful or you know somebody that this could be useful for, please feel free to share it. And then also, if you really enjoy this content, please give me a thumbs up. It lets the algorithm know that you did enjoy my content, and feel free to comment below. Does the same, but I'm also very responsive to those and are more than willing and happy to answer any questions that you do there as well. So again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. God bless. I look forward to the day that I call you my neighbor.